Just how surprising was this win that the Patriots had over the Chargers?
I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm shocked, like, whoa, but like it's definitely like you said, we did not think this was possible. So it's definitely like a kind of help tilt, kind of like a really? Did that just happen? Um, I'm looking at both teams right now and I'm saying, wow, like this could have went either way. I mean, granted, New England wins the turnover battle, so that's why they in large part won this game. But when you look at teams as a whole, I mean, they both ran the ball very well. They both had over 125 yards rushing. Mac Jones had an efficient night. He didn't throw a touchdown, but he also did not turn the ball over. But then on the opposite side, I mean, Justin Herbert, they had literally identical attempts and completions in terms of 18 of 35, except the difference was Herbert threw two picks. It's actually creepy that, but both of them legitimately went 18 for 35 and threw for almost the exact same amount of yards. It's actually really, really creepy. But like I said, the difference was the fact that Herbert was sacked three times. He had two picks, and then Mac Jones played a pretty flawless football game in terms of keeping the ball away from the other team. I mean, Damian Harris continues to have a very consistent year running the ball, 80 yards and a touch. Justin Jackson led the way this week for the Chargers with 79 yards. But I mean, like to circle a specific number where New England needs to improve is going to be that rush defense. I mean, with just 20 attempts, the Chargers ran all over the Patriots for 163 yards and a touchdown. That's 8.2 yards per carry. That's almost an entire first down every time someone touches the ball in terms of an average. So I'm looking at New England and I'm saying, well, damn, can they make a push into the AFC in terms of trying to compete for a playoff spot? Maybe. In terms of receiving, I mean, like I said, Mac Jones only had 218, but I feel like he distributed the ball very, very effectively. I mean, pretty much almost everybody that he threw to got a touch. And it did look pretty well. I mean, Nelson Aguilar had a couple, Kendrick Bourne had a couple, Kyle's favorite player, N'Keal Harry, had a couple. And then, you really go out there and you look at the Chargers. And I mean, once again, everybody knows that Justin Herbert can put the ball in the right place, but it just was not enough to combat the New England Patriots. I mean, the summary says it. The fourth quarter, the Pats scored 11 points. The Chargers scored seven, and for the most part, it was a close game back and forth. But I'm circling the Chargers because they started off so hot this year, and they're on a skid now. They're coming off a bye. They go and they have a home game against a very winnable team in New England, and then they go and cough this up, and they're now 4-3, and they're looking on the outside now to the Las Vegas Raiders at 5-2, saying, "Whoa, wait a minute! Like we were in this." And obviously, Vegas is on a bye this week, so they still have an opportunity to get within a game. But typically, teams with young quarterbacks like this that go on these little bumps, it's I don't want to say a sophomore slump, Kyle. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like Justin Herbert is starting to realize the adversity of remain. Like it's hard to stay consistent like he was so early on. But we will see how they kind of bounce back from this. But again, kudos to the Patriots for making life a living hell for Justin Herbert, getting the dub that improves them to 3-0 away, which is pretty impressive for a rookie quarterback. And New England just shows that they were able to get it done in prime time, not prime time, but you know what I mean.
So I was kind of surprised by the result between the Patriots and the Chargers in this game, simply because I thought that the Chargers were going to be able to bounce back in a big way after they had taken that really bad loss to Baltimore before their bye week a couple of weeks back. And I had faith that Justin Herbert was going to be able to expose this New England Patriots defense, which has been suspect throughout certain times of the season so far. But I was proven wrong. And I got to give a lot of credit for the Patriots being able to rally together and get one of the biggest wins for them that they've had this entire season. The Chargers are a good team, and this is probably their first quality win of the entire season. And doing it on the road, you got to give a lot of kudos for the Patriots for being able to pull this off. I really thought that this game flipped late in the second half when Adrian Phillips was able to get a big pick six off of Justin Herbert. And this is when the Chargers were marching down the field. They were up 17-16 in that point of the game. And that pick six really set them behind the eight ball. And then the Patriots were able to get that 2-point conversion on top of it after to make it a 7-point game. And the Chargers just weren't able to get anything consistently at the end of the game unless you're accounting for that one garbage time touchdown that cut the deficit from 10 points to 3 points with only like a minute and a half left in the game. So New England made some really good second half adjustments when I really look back at this game because the Chargers in the first half, they were getting some good offensive drives. throughout the first half, but in the second half, they just couldn't get much going offensively whatsoever. But you focus on New England, their defense stepped up when they needed to. I thought Mac and the offense, they were good in spurts, but to me, the biggest drive that they had of the entire game was with about 8 minutes left in the fourth quarter, and they end up getting a field goal to push it to a 10-point lead, but it was a possession that took 6 minutes off the clock. And to be able to make it a two possession game with chewing up that much time at the end of the game, that's big for Mac Jones because Mac is still getting comfortable with what it's like in the NFL, and he was able to come up with some big plays specifically on that drive to keep the clock chewing up and extending their lead at the end of the drive. Granted, it didn't result in a touchdown, but it was enough to get them to a two possession lead. Granted, the Chargers did get a touchdown to cut it to a one possession game, but the Patriots got that onside kick, and that was pretty much it. So when I look at the Patriots, it's a huge win. They continue their success on the road this season. They're sitting at 4-4 in a division where clearly the Bills are one step ahead of them. But I got to be honest with you, Kevin. Granted, I'm a Patriot fan here, but I was really surprised at how well the Patriots played against the Chargers. And I really got to say with the Chargers right now, man, they're really kind of going through that midseason bump right now because they started out so hot and they were sitting at the top of the AFC West right alongside the Vegas Raiders, and then losing these last two games in the manner that they have. Granted, they got destroyed by the Ravens before their bye week, but to lose this one at home, which was a very winnable game against the Patriots, this one's going to sting a little bit for the Chargers. But all in all, a great performance from New England. This was really, I thought, one of the best coaching performances that we've seen from Bill Belichick and the coaching staff all season. They were able to make Justin Herbert uncomfortable throughout most of the day. And sometimes that's just enough to get him off of his spot and force some errant passes or just force him to make some plays that he's just not going to make a lot happen out of. So great win for the Patriots. And with the Chargers, they just got to go back to the drawing board and figure this out because, man, they're letting this AFC West slip to the Vegas Raiders if they keep it up like this.